Most of us are absolutely no strangers to tragic, star-crossed love from the medieval times. Maybe you were forced to read Romeo and Juliet in school. There we go. Anyway, today's jaunty ramble will be a very true story from our very macabre, weird, dark past. It's the road of Ines de Castro, a royal mistress who became Portugal's corpse bride. Without further ado, let's get straight on into it.
Morbid history.
Ines de Castro, born sometime 1325. She was beautiful, noble. She had ties to many families and all the royal families also from the Spanish peninsula, which by this point in the 1300s was just a bunch of small kingdoms flapping around. There was like no Spain. She was born in Castile, which was right smack in the middle, the biggest one of them. Even though she had all these connections, she was illegitimate, that's a hard word, illegitimate daughter to a nobleman and his mistress. So, a noble bastard, but a bastard nonetheless. But with all her good connections, she had a great education and was well respected throughout. And very pretty, of course, that could help. But she got a job. I don't think it was a job, but she got the great honor to be lady-in-waiting to a Constanza Manuel, who was engaged, betrothed to the prince, the heir apparent of Portugal, Pedro, son of King Alfonso of Portugal. This was supposed to be like a very political, of course, wedding. And when Constanza came to Portugal, she and Pedro did not click. They did have a few children, but it was not there. Instead, Pedro just placed his eyes on the beautiful Ines and fell head over heels. This was the girl of his dreams. This very huge, large crush, infatuation, was they both enjoyed that crush very much. Someone who did not enjoy it, besides Constanza then, the jilted wife over there, was King Alfonso, Pedro's father. Yes. He became the #1 member of the I Hate Ines club. He thought that the slight of Pedro giving Ines more attention openly would cause a stir among Portugal and Castile. Thing was that Castile had grown so huge from eating up other small kingdoms around the past 100 years, and Alfonso did not want to lose his independence. He did not want to be swallowed up into the monster that was Castile. That was one of the reasons why he married off Constanza to Portugal as a, hey, take this lady and don't mind us. Let us be independent, please. And also, of course, the whole bastard thing. He did not think that a bastard should be anywhere near his sweet darling Pedro. Things got even more tense and horrible and not fun for Alfonso when Ines' brothers turned up, and they became fast friends with Pedro, and this was not good. The Castilian bastards, they came here and influenced Pedro in a very bad way, Alfonso thought. So, Alfonso and Constanza tried their best to separate the lovers, Pedro and Ines, even going as far as asking Ines to become godmother to one of their sons, Pedro and Constanza's sons then, because that would make Ines a blood relative. I don't know how that would work, but either way, and if she became that, it would become family love in the wrong way for Pedro and Ines to continue, so Ines actually declined the honor, even though it was a great honor. This angered Alfonso, the king, even further, so he exiled Ines, hoping that that would do something, which it didn't, because Pedro just tagged along and started living together with Ines in her exile, which then prompted Alfonso to invite them both back again, because it was easier to keep an eye on them, at least that way. Yeah. After all these failed attempts, in 1349, tragedy struck. Constanza, dearly departed, cancelled her life subscription after giving birth to a bebe. Maybe Pedro's bebe. I'm guessing so. He might have been fulfilling his duties. But, well, yeah, after that happened, King Alfonso tried to find a new suitable bride for his heir, Pedro, and was well and truly unsuccessful, because Pedro would have none other than Ines. That was that was all he could think about. So he went ahead and secretly had played house with Ines. They lived together and actually had 4 children, healthy, happy children. This did not exactly make Alfonso leave the I Hate Ines fan club. No. His hatred? Well, it grew. And on top of that, Ines' brothers were trying to get Pedro to claim the Castile throne, and in that way make his and Ines' children's heirs to the throne, and in that way somehow make Portugal a part of Castile. And we all know, as I've said, Alfonso, that's his greatest nightmare. He wanted his independence, freedom. So yeah, he was not gonna have anything of that. No. And this is where he went full on hate. When Ines was circa 30 years old and living at a monastery with her children, small children, Pedro was out hunting. That was a noble pastime, and it could take days until he returned. Alfonso took this as a great opportunity to go there, and yeah, you can guess what happened. He had 3 large and stout men, I can guess, with him, and they were indeed assassins. Some say Ines tried to plead with the king, and the king just left the room saying, do what you will with her, and the assassins sure did. They separated her, that part from that part, in front of her small children. Yeah. There's actually a place called Fountain of Tears that has a big red discoloration. I'm gonna put the name of it here, and it's said that that is the spot where Ines was tragically, dearly departed and pushed into the Valley of Demise. And it's said that that's her bodily red fluid, and that she haunts the place. Well, I would do too, if that happened. Pedro, once he heard of this, wasn't very amused at all, actually. Not even a little. No, he he started a civil war against his own father, and he took the help of Ines's brothers. He went there and he was gonna go and take care of his dad. The only reason why this didn't become a big spectacle was because Pedro's mother, whom I haven't even talked about yet, but she talked him out of it. So I guess Pedro and Alfonso remained cordial, but only for 2 years. In 1357, King Alfonso went ahead and kicked the bucket. Pedro didn't do it. So now Pedro was king, called Peter now, for some reason. But yeah, Pedro became king of Portugal. Now, as king, his first thing to do was to tell everyone that he and Ines had been secretly married, making his children legitimate. Yeah, they were now heirs also to the throne. They were princes and princesses of Portugal. But if you've been waiting for the creepy, scary, horrible part, it wasn't the murder, it's what happened next after that. First, he went after the assassins, and he caught 2 of them and took them to a dinner party. I would not attend if I were those assassins. And at the dinner party, he ripped out the hearts of the still living men, one from the back and one from the front, declaring that those who had demised an innocent woman and broke his heart do not deserve hearts, or shouldn't have hearts, or can't have hearts. And yeah, brutal. Then, since he had been married to Ines in secret, that meant that she was now queen. And he was determined to make that a reality. So he went and exhumed Ines's body and clad it, he dressed it in very fine fabrics and decided to have a little coronation. All the nobles had to be there and kiss the hem of her dress or even her little decayed hand and swear allegiance to her as Queen of Portugal. I guess somewhere there they had to fasten the upper part to her lower part again. I didn't see anything of that particular thing, but I guess it was something that happened. After doing all that, pleased with instating his long dead wife as Queen of Portugal, he had a very fancy and grand funeral progression to the royal vaults where she would be interred in an extremely extravagant sarcophagus. The sarcophagus was pretty cool by its own, it's still there. It was carved with their love story around it, all the way from their meeting to their children and Ines's demise, and how Pedro ripped up the hearts, and all that fun jazz was like carved into it. And on top of it she was lying, like, you know, a stone version of her was lying with cherubs holding her pillow up, so she's comfy and nice. Beautiful, romantic. Then, when Pedro finally died, he was buried next to her in a similar sarcophagus, and he wanted them to be placed so that when Judgment Day came, they would come up and see each other. There was a man on a mission, a guy in love with his corpse queen. So yeah, that was the story of Ines de Castro, the corpse queen, or even the zombie queen as some call her. It's tragic, macabre, and so many things. I'm gonna do a few more videos in this series, post-mortem hijinks. Because there's so many weird things that had happened to the bodies of people already demised long time ago. So stay tuned for more. Please like, comment and subscribe. It doesn't hurt, I promise, and it really helps the channel so much. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for watching, and giant thanks to my lovely Patreons. You're my heroes. If you want to support the channel, find links down below for my Patreon and Ko-fi if you want to leave a tip. And also I have a shop where I make some handmade crafts. So yeah, like and subscribe and comment down below. Stay amazing, stay hydrated, but most of all, stay morbid. Bye bye!